Everybody, welcome to What the Flick. Tim, Alonso, starting a little late, forgive us, but Fear the Walking Dead. First 3 episodes of season 3, Eye of the Beholder, The New Frontier, and Teotihuacan. And only this moment did we discover that Teotihuacan is an acronym for the end of the world as we know it. We're slow. So I thought it was like some Hopi Indian word for, you know, the end of all that is or something, but there you go.
I mean, it is.
It is, but it's one we made up. All right, so this season kicks off, we're in the army base. You know, it's
Clarks
weird.
have been captured.
Yeah, what's worse when they're separated or when they're together? You know, it's just always something. So yeah, so you've got Madison and Alicia upstairs being sort of
interrogated by Troy.
Exactly. While sadly downstairs, the Troy's crazy scientific experiments are going on, and it looks like that Nick and
Travis
are all in line for very bad things, and then
Brooklyn character actor number 1.
Exactly. So then they managed to get out of that, but of course, you know, God forbid that they all travel to the compound in the same vehicle, because if you don't split up on this show, then there's no drama. So naturally, Curtis gets in the helicopter with Alicia, and Curtis falls out of the helicopter.
Travis, but yes.
Sorry, Travis. Sorry, the actor is Curtis. Travis falls out of the helicopter, and he's dead, right?
Yeah, he wasn't going to do so well in the helicopter.
No, definitely. But I just, you know, I know this is one of those shows where like I got to see a corpse or nothing, but you know.
In my opinion, the Manamwa family, if I'm pronouncing that correct, they have some interesting deaths.
Yeah. Because
Chris's death was off screen. We never saw it.
Oh, that's right.
We were just told about it, and now the father has a very unceremonious death in the cold open of episode 2.
Yeah, that was super random.
Seems a waste, but I mean, they have their reasons, I guess.
I guess, yeah. You know, and you know this. I mean, I'm assuming with OG Walking Dead, like there's such a large ensemble that you can off people more frequently, and it's like whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, here we have such a concentrated core group at this point that like bumping one of them off is a big deal.
I applaud their lack of plot armor.
Sure, no.
That was surprising to me.
Absolutely, I'm not saying don't do it. I just wanted to kind of contextualize that this is kind of a big step for this show. So they make it to the compound, which is, you know, this reminded me a lot of. Did you see 10 Cloverfield Lane?
No.
The character played by John Goodman also has this sort of big underground bunker, and it's like this whole thing of, you know, the worst thing that can happen is like a survivalist hitting the jackpot.
Yeah.
You know, when somebody who has like spent untold amounts of time and money and energy preparing for the worst, when the worst happens, it's like, haha, I was right, you know? And so it's,
and I didn't waste all that money.
Exactly.
On all that cement and supplies.
I'm not insane. You know, there was an apocalypse, and so haha. And so it just is kind of weird when you get to this terrible point in a fiction, and then you have a character who was ready for it all along. It's sort of like, well, yay, you know, I mean, good for you, I guess. Bad for everyone else. But yeah, so this guy was ready for Teotihuacan, and it indeed happened.
So I see this as being the arc for the season, right?
Yes.
Because Fear the Walking Dead has given us little mini arcs before that only last an episode or 2.
Yeah, they do a lot of, there's a lot of moving, and this now seems like, oh, we're gonna stay put for a while.
And I'm sort of liking how they've introduced an adversary in the Ottos and what we don't know about them.
Right.
Troy, the violent one, and Jeremiah, the formerly violent one, but maybe he's reformed. But also we've introduced like a mysterious other adversary, the people that shoot down the helicopter.
Right,
we
exactly.
Don't know who they are, we don't know what they want.
That's our mystery for at least the first chunk of the season, if not the whole season.
Who will end up on what side of what coming war? I don't know.
But no, I love how this is playing out, both in terms of Madison kind of really reading the family dynamic and giving each person what they need. Like Troy needs a firm hand, so she's like, that bed was made.
Yeah, that was good.
You know,
she's got a lot of good power plays.
Right, but then with the other son, she's clearly being more maternal and more affectionate, because he was the one who was obviously the caretaker and the sort of codependent member of the family who was trying to, you know, he was looking after the alcoholic mother. He was, you know, comforting Troy when he was being yelled at, you know. So she's taking care of him. He's never had a caretaker, and she's going to be that. And then with the dad, I think she's also being very pragmatic and being very like, she's yes-anding him in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So she's very savvy about kind of playing all sides here.
And maybe it's
which she always kind of has been. That's sort of been her strength on this show.
Yeah, and maybe it's just for the point of moving the exposition along, but he's being very open with her. For an assumed stranger that has stolen a gun and threatened a child, like stuck a spoon in an eye. He's like, let me show you our reserves of all the guns and the food that we have.
True, but
this is an amazing place to stay, stranger who assaulted my child.
Although in a sense, though, he may be recognizing a kindred spirit, because if all the, as we're told later, most of the people on that compound have been there since shit started going south. She's somebody who's been out there and survived and coped and faced down the worst of it and is still around and has kept her family together. So he sees in her, I think, somebody who is like him, a survivor and somebody who's ready to take what the, and in a way maybe even respects that, because he's been hiding out in his doomsday playground, and she's been really facing the shit. And so the fact that she's there, I think in a way he's kind of like game recognized game, like, okay, I've been behind a wall. You've been out there doing it, and here you are. So
help me prepare better.
Exactly. Yeah. So I buy that. I buy that relationship. Meanwhile, Strand.
Oh yeah,
Strand
is back.
Yes. So he fakes being a doctor for a while until he has to deliver a child. Then it's like, okay, you really need to leave now.
I feel as though we joined that storyline 2 months in, and we don't know what happened, and we're like, and here's what Strand is up to.
Meanwhile, I think that's definitely a flashback. I think for sure.
Okay.
Because I think that picks up not too far after Madison and them left.
I wasn't sure the
worst wedding ever. Yeah, no, I'm not entirely clear. I'm just guessing, but I'm sure someone will tell us in the comments if we have it wrong.
Am I to recognize the people that showed up at the hotel, or they're just people that needed medical attention?
I think they were just random people.
They're not people from Lucy's camp that got really far.
I don't think so, but again, you'll tell us if we're wrong. One last great Brenda Strong performance before leaping off the balcony. So
a little predictable, but she sold it pretty well.
Totally, yeah. No. I thought she worked that really well. And then so Strand takes the best car in the garage, clears out
his style and his color.
Oh yeah, of course, because he's not going to just hop into some Nissan or something. He has to go first class. So he runs into Dante, which in a show like this is a little I think, but whatever. A former business associate who reveals some things that we didn't know about Strand. Apparently, he's a user, even with.
I mean, we knew he was a con man.
We knew he was a con man, but
first episode,
but we didn't know that Thomas was one of his marks. That seemed to be his sort of one kind of pure thing, and maybe it was in a way. I mean, it could have been. It started in one way and went somewhere else, but nonetheless, it's oh, okay, so even that is that we don't
not sacred. Yeah,
exactly.
Nothing.
Yeah. So he's now kind of stuck there, and we'll see what that payback involves.
In some ways, involve the return of Daniel Salazar. Whether,
yes,
whether or not he's real or not.
Yeah, that's true. I hadn't even thought about that. Is it all in his mind for all we know? But again, we didn't see him die. So who knows? And I love the Christian band that is just the teenagers sneaking out to smoke pot underground. It's that's hilarious.
Bible study, yeah.
Yes, how to get the adults off our back. It's in that there's a book called Geography Club where it's the secret gay club on campus, but they don't want anybody to join it, so they call it Geography Club to make it sound as unappealing as possible. So it's oh, we're going out to Bible study. Oh yeah, you guys go do that. We're not going to pay any attention whatsoever. And they've got a head in a cage, so that's
Jeff.
That's with a G.
Oh really?
Yeah, I turned the subtitles on. That's how I know these things.
Now you know.
Yeah. So that's So if they stick around this for a while, I will be okay with that.
I see promise. I see promise in this season.
Yeah, they've planted.
And it's probably because we haven't had a lot of Nick yet.
That does help, by all means, keeping him on the.
Nick is sort of wishy-washy. Do I stay? Do I go? My mom and Lucy. He has one good scene with Troy on the boar hunt.
Yes. That was pretty great.
And I don't know where that's going. No. Because Troy wants to be friends now, and I don't think Nick's down for that. So who knows?
But no, I think they found a way to kind of keep these guys in one place for a while and make it interesting. And there's enough interesting, conflicting characters going on here. And Madison, I think, like I said, is playing a lot of fronts that yeah, let's stick around for a while and see where this goes.
But before seeing the pantry, I wasn't really sold on why this was the place and we have to stay here and this is our best shot at survival. It just seemed like barbed wire fence and trailer park.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You got to figure that thing has been running since since it all started.
Yeah.
And they're all still in pretty good shape. Obviously, they all seem healthy. They all seem.
They got cabbages.
Exactly. Yeah. Like they're not. This is not like tumbleweeds are blowing through this. This is like an actual working community that has managed to survive and keep out the zombies. So
But I mean, this group couldn't keep the zombies out of the fortified military base that they were at. They got overrun.
Well, yeah,
that was bad news.
That's true, but that was they didn't have the dad. Maybe he's the one who's keeping all this together. Maybe. I don't know. So all right, we'll see how this thing plays out, and we'll be back. Join us next time. Thanks.